Welcome to C-Suite Sherpas, where we shine a spotlight on business experts and resources that you should know. Our mission is to connect our viewers to the experts who will help you boost your personal and professional performance. And I'm excited today to have Rebekah Eyre and John Baker, the founders of Influence on Purpose. Hey, guys.
Hi, how are you?
Very good. And influence on purpose really helps people become leaders who create regenerative cultures. And we're going to talk about what exactly that means as we dive into this. Are you guys ready?
We're ready.
Yes, sir.
All right. Can you guys give me a snapshot of what your business is and the major outcomes that you get for your clients?
Sure. We're a executive coaching, so we do leadership development. We work with both individuals and groups of executives. We also work with groups of emerging leaders, usually in companies where we are coaching either one or the team of executives. So that's what we do. It's leadership development and executive coaching.
Okay. Can you describe who your services work best for?
Sure. I think first we find that we're not limited to any particular size of company or any particular industry. Usually, as long as there are people in the company, we do okay. That's what we do, is help people be better leaders of other people. What really, though, we find is a good fit is helping people become the leaders they want to be in the first place. We can't tell you how many times we've had leaders say, you helped me become the leader I thought I wanted to be in the first place, but I was taught other things. I was taught to think about profit first. I was taught to think about people in terms of efficiency instead of effectiveness and that sort of thing. So that's been very helpful. Working with people who want to create, I think helping leaders understand that their job is to build trust and create culture, and that culture drives their outcomes. So helping people take ownership of that. We find a lot of times folks are victims of low trust and bad culture. And what we tell them as leaders and ourselves as leaders is we don't get to make that excuse. It's our job to build trust and create culture, not be a victim of those things. Working with companies and individuals that really look to their people and want to help them thrive, and knowing that when the people in the organization thrive at doing their job, the company thrives. So anyway, I'll leave it at that.
So if we go down the path of trust, that's a very interesting thing, right? Because trust really becomes the foundation for not just the leadership, but also the whole environment and the culture, right? So how do you address the trust issue with either a single executive or a set of executives?
Great question. That's actually it. So shameless plug here. That's actually the outcome of the book we wrote called Influence on Purpose, the 5 principles for leaders to create regenerative cultures. And the very last chapter really is a map for how do you assess. Really, it's about assessing your stewardship. If I could change one thing in the book, the first thing would be changing that title of the last chapter or the heading for the last chapter. We call it creating a kind of a team trust assessment, but which it is. And really what it is an assessment of your stewardship as a leader, the influence you're having. What am I doing that's either investing in building trust, or is there something I'm doing that's helping trust to be diminished in any way? So what we find is I love the statement, every organization is perfectly designed to get exactly what it's getting, right? And so when you can assess your influence as a leader and figure out what impact am I having on people's ability to align with the values, vision, and mission of the company? What impact am I having on people's ability to engage in the work of the company? And then is my management style appropriate for that individual? Right? When you know those things, there really are 5 sections. You can create a design that is perfectly structured to build trust. One thing that I was reminded of, and I like to remind others of as well, is that we don't go with the assumption that we can make people trust us. That would be foolish.
Yeah.
What we do go with is we can create systems that make trust, and we can create relationships that are high trust relationships that help people want to trust us or be willing to trust us, or in other words, make ourselves trustworthy or worthy of other people's trust. Now, whether or not they trust us or not is really not something we can control.
So maybe that's one of your unique services or unique approaches, but is that what sets your business apart from others that kind of do the same thing, would you say?
Rebecca,
Can I
anything?
ask?
Yeah.
I just wanted to, I think it is one of the things we talk about is making the invisible visible. I was reading an article by a CEO of an ESOP company, obviously a very brilliant, good man, talked about the enigma of trust, of how difficult it was to understand trust and build it. And he was doing the right things, obviously a good man, but I disagreed with the word enigma. I think we, like Dad said, we become victims of things we don't understand. But when you can say you can build trust, you can have outcomes that support these things, it really helps a lot of people to realize what they were missing in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Changing gears a bit. What is the biggest challenge that your industry faces? And let's say you face with helping your clients develop that leadership that they've always wanted to develop?
You know, I was asked once by a client in our initial meeting, what would be the biggest barrier to me being successful in growing as a leader? And you know what? If you could pick the 10, and I don't have them top of mind, right? But if you were to say statistically the 10 biggest reasons you fail in a lead as a leader, probably somewhere between 8 and 9 would have something to do with pride, right?
Mm.
If you're in a position to lead, you've already succeeded to that point. Leadership development is about helping successful people be more successful. The barriers have a lot to do with, am I willing to take a good hard look at myself and understand the difference between the influence I think that I'm having and the influence I'm actually having? When people start to say, no matter what my intent was, you're having this bad effect, whatever it is, it's shutting me down, it's creating low trust, it's causing turnover, whatever it might be, it's hard to not rationalize or defend.
Yeah.
And getting people to just say, thanks for the feedback, I'll work on that, and then and go about working on that. So I think helping people overcome those internal barriers to improvement is a big one.
Yeah.
Rebecca,
And I
go ahead.
can relate to that from being an executive for a lot of years. I had an ego, right? And one of the things I think I struggle with looking back on it now is maybe some vulnerability that would have created more trust. Is that something that you see or that you deal with?
Absolutely. And you're right, vulnerability is a key word right there. It's interesting is I was just having this conversation with an executive yesterday, knowing how to be very confident and very vulnerable at the same time. If you have one without the other, you're out of balance, and that will erode trust, right? If I'm confident and arrogant, there's no room for anybody else, and they know it and feel it. But if I'm so vulnerable that I don't give anybody a sense of direction or help them feel purpose or trust that I can help them bring order out of chaos, whatever it might be that's required of me as a leader, then that's no good either. So what you find is as you balance usually two areas, you get to rise above the one, right? And what I mean by that is a lot of people will say, my problem is I'm just too kind. I don't tell people tough things because I'm just a nice person. And I always tell them that's not possible. You'll never be too kind. The problem is you're not very honest. And that hurts people's feelings when they hear that, right? And that's that moment where they can, and I've had, when I work with people and we help them get there, right? It's not, we don't just throw them in the fire and say, we hope you don't burn, right? Or throw them in the water and say, we hope you can swim. We help them make that transition, and that's what coaching is being able to look and say, oh, I can see how when I come that's coming across as dishonest when I hold back on telling somebody something they need to hear, right? Other people will say my problem is I'm just too honest. I just tell the truth and people can't handle that, and we'll say, you'll never be too honest. Your problem is you're disrespectful.
Yeah.
When people feel disrespected, now it becomes about their dignity and your message really doesn't matter anymore. So you find that if you can bring the honesty up to the level of kindness you have, you now transcended your old place. If you can bring the respect or kindness up to the level of honesty that you value, you've now transcended your old place. You've grown. And that's really what helps, I think, leaders the most. And without humility, you won't make that change.
Yeah. I could have used you 30 years ago.
Well, it's what we do. We find that I always tell people we always start with an assessment, and you have to become self-aware, but there's danger in that because after you become self-aware, it's easy to be stuck there, right?
Yeah.
To say because it's not all about you. If you're a leader, it's about somebody else's success and what you do to help that happen, right? It's not about you. So we have to help people know the difference between being self-aware and self-absorbed, right? Self-aware is good, self-absorbed, not so much so.
No. All right, cool. That was great. That was insightful. Now let's venture into a little lightning round where our viewers will get a chance, I think, to know you a little bit more personally. Okay?
Sure.
Good.
Who would you like to
Ready?
have answer that? There's two of us here. I know we're ganging up on you.
You could both answer. You
All
can
right.
both answer.
Rebekah, we'll have you start if you don't mind.
Okay.
All right, coffee or tea?
Tea.
Tea if it's not caffeinated.
Okay. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
I'm not a pet person. So,
Oh, that's the second one I've had today. Usually in the first two.
So
Sorry.
my dog is actually a herding dog. We're on a ranch here, so the dog is a worker. So
Oh,
that's
nice.
kind of why. Yeah.
So you even put the dog to work.
He works hard, harder than
Let's see, favorite quote or phrase that you think about often?
oh gosh. Go ahead, Rebekah.
Lord, what fools these mortals be. Pup.
Boy, there are so many for me, but I love it has to, I think who was it? Might be Emerson. Somebody will correct me on this, I'm sure. But I would not give a fig for simplicity this side of complexity, but I'd give my right arm for simplicity the other side of complexity.
That is, yeah, that's deep. That's good.
It means a lot to me.
Yeah. All right. Favorite movie or streaming series?
Go ahead.
Jane Eyre.
True Grit, John Wayne.
Right. Favorite book?
Pride and Prejudice.
What is it?
Typical.
What is that?
Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, nice.
You know what? For me, it's scripture, right? I love to read, but if there's a favorite, it's the Bible. It's scripture.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. A two-part question, last question, two-part. One bucket list item that you've already accomplished, and one bucket list item that you have not, but it's at the top of your list.
Go ahead, Rebekah. You can do first.
I am learning to make cheese from my own cow and sheep milk. I mean, I can't say I've accomplished it, but I'm doing it.
Nice.
I've tried some of it. It's pretty darn good, by the way.
Some of it, a lot of it goes to the pigs. Okay, listen, I want to travel and serve in the Middle East and Arab speaking populations.
Nice. Okay. John?
One that I've accomplished is, and it's kind of a combination thing. I have established my own business, or own consulting practice, and I'm able to do it on my home ranch here in Hocking County, Ohio. So we have about 100 acres, raise highland cattle, and have a great place for our family to gather. That's something I've always wanted to accomplish, and we've been here going on 12 years. I'm immensely grateful for that every day. Something I hope yet to accomplish is to expand on what we're doing so that what we do to help businesses have healthy cultures and good leadership of integrity, I'd like to be able to share that with families. We're developing and striving to develop programs that will help heal and strengthen families.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
All right. So the most important question is if our viewers want to reach out and talk to you guys and collaborate with you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
No problem. Rebekah, you want to share yours? first.
Probably email is easiest. We always check our email. Mine's Rebekah@influenceonpurpose.com. We also have a website, influenceonpurpose.com, that has our information on it.
Now, your name, Rebecca, is spelled a little bit differently, right?
Okay, yeah. You got to think biblical, all right?
Yeah,
It's
there you go.
Rebekah. Yes.
And
Okay.
it's Old Testament biblical and not New Testament biblical.
Oh, gosh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
It is actually. That's a good, you're right.
All right. Mine is simply john@influenceonpurpose.com. And then we do have, as Rebekah said, the website, influenceonpurpose.com. But we check our email is something we check daily.
Awesome. All right, guys. John, Rebecca, it was great to talk to you. Thank you. It was very insightful. And I hope our viewers, I think our viewers got a lot out of it. So thank you.
Welcome. Thank you
Thanks so
very
much.
much. We appreciate
Nice
your
to meet
time.
you.